The Islanders are on a roll, but is it enough to get them into the playoffs? We'll talk about their odds and what it'll take. Plus, we have a full preview of tonight's game in Dallas against the Stars. We'll tell you what the Islanders need to do to emerge victorious and some special honors for Semyon Varlamov. All that and more coming up on the 600th episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Locked On Islanders podcast. Gil Martin, so glad to be with you today as we celebrate our 600th episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. And more than anything, I want to thank you, the listener. Couldn't do this without you, and I really appreciate you checking in as often as you do and being part of the Locked On Islanders family. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. If you've got something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment about something we've talked about on the show, or something you'd like us to talk about in an upcoming show, feel free to email us. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we are happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter at Ice Wars, NYR vs NYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. I'll give you some instant insight and analysis, and always great to interact with fans during games and quite honestly, anytime. So feel free to hit me up on Twitter and we'll talk some Islanders hockey. Let's start with the fact that the Islanders, quite honestly, right now are on a little bit of a roll. 4 straight wins, 7 out of their last 10. This is the team, winning-wise at least, that we expected to see all season, but didn't. And look, right now, the Islanders getting the job done, but here we are with 14 games left in the season, and the Islanders are 11 points behind the Washington Capitals in the race for the last playoff spot. Yes, the Islanders do have 1 game in hand. How difficult is it to make up 11 points in 14 games? Well, let's say this. If the Capitals get 11 points in their last, the Capitals right now have 13 games left. If they get 13 points in those games, that would give them 97 points, which means the Islanders would need 24 points out of a possible 28 in order to tie the Washington Capitals for that last playoff spot. So that tells you how difficult it will be. The Capitals really have to stumble and start to lose games while the Islanders will have to win. Now, look, I don't want to downplay what this team has been able to accomplish recently, because, it's impressive. They are playing the kind of hockey that you knew they could, but the road ahead is not easy. Look, 12 of the final 14 games that the Islanders have on their schedule are against teams that, as of right now, would be in the playoffs. It is really unlikely that the Islanders mathematically will make the postseason this year. According to a number of different statistical outlooks, playoffstatus.com being the one I'm talking about now, the Islanders have roughly a 2% chance of making the playoffs this year. That's not good. 2 out of 100, okay, yes, there is a chance, but with 12 of 14 games against playoff teams, it's not exactly easy. And, the negative part about it is you want your team to win, you want your team to do well, but the Islanders probably for this year are going to be in that no man's land where they're not bad enough to get a top lottery pick, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs. So they're sort of in that in-between spot right now. But look, realistically speaking, you want to finish strong. You want to find out what you're dealing with here as far as some of your younger players, even some of your older players. Do you want them back? What kind of roles should certain players play next year? And then winning breeds a culture of winning. And you finish strong, you create optimism and confidence in that room to get ready to start the new season next year and hopefully, therefore, to, come out of the gate doing well as opposed to what happened this year, which was just, so frustrating and a perfect storm of difficulty. So, look, the Islanders not mathematically eliminated as of now. And I don't believe in the tanking thing. I think as long as you are mathematically alive for the playoffs, even if it is at this point a 2% chance, you keep playing to win and let the cards fall where they may. Again, yeah, maybe the Islanders are out of this in 3 or 4 games, that you lose 3 or 4 in a row, it could be over quickly. But until you're out of it, you keep playing and you play to win. And so far, the Islanders have been doing that. It hasn't always been easy. It hasn't always been impressive. But, 2 wins in a row over Columbus. You shut out the Rangers and you beat the Devils 3 of those 4 games on the road, all of them against division opponents. It's a good little setup. And if it gives you any reason for optimism, the Islanders still play the Capitals twice, April 26th and April 28th. Those are the third and second to last games of the year. If they still mean something, if the Islanders still have a chance to catch the Caps at that point, boy, that is going to be something big. We have got more to talk about on this episode of the show. We will talk about how the Islanders have to beat the Dallas Stars. It won't be easy in Dallas. The Stars fighting for a playoff berth out west. We'll preview that game and tell you what the Islanders need to do. Plus, our Islanders' birthday of the day, a former goalie who is now a well-known member of the NHL media family, and honors for Semyon Varlamov. All that still to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championships odds, podcasts, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Hey, Stanley Cup playoffs are coming up. You want to place that bet, get some good odds on the Islanders making the playoffs? You might want to do that. You could bet on who's going to win individual trophies in the NHL or who's going to win the Stanley Cup. Lots to come. So head on over to BetOnline where the game starts. So Semyon Varlamov getting some honors. He was named the NHL's third star of the week for the week that ended on Sunday, April 3rd. Varly, 99 saves in 104 shots. He went 3-0 over the week, and that was good enough to get him the third star of the week. The shutout at Madison Square Garden, just sort of the icing on the cake. And Varlamov, by the way, recorded, wins Thursday night against Columbus, Friday night against the Rangers. That was back-to-back wins. First time for Varly since February 11th and 12th, 2016. He also has 5 shutouts in his career now against the Rangers. That is tied for second behind Carey Price, who has 7. And then Frederik Andersen, and Yaroslav Halak each have 5, as does Semyon Varlamov. In his last 7 starts, Varly now 6-1. And on the season, 2.73 goals against average and a .918 save percentage. So congratulations to Semyon Varlamov, being named the 3rd star of the week for the week, 3-0, 167 goals against average, a .952 save percentage, and a shutout. Alexander Barkov was the 2nd star, Connor McDavid the 1st star, but congratulations to Varly. Always good to see Islanders represented in the NHL's nationwide awards and get that recognition that they deserve. Tonight, Dallas Stars hosting the Islanders. Won't be easy. Dallas lost their last game to Seattle 4-1, but before that had won 3 straight. So they lose on the road. That ended a 4-game road trip where they went 3-1. And now they have a 3-game homestand against all Eastern teams, the Islanders, then Toronto, then New Jersey. Right now, Dallas, 81 points in 68 games. They are 5th place in the Central Division, 1 point behind the Nashville Predators and 5 points behind the St. Louis Blues. Nobody has any games in hand, so tight playoff race Dallas is involved in. Jake Ettinger giving them good goaltending. He is 24-12-1. He has 1 shutout, a .916 goals against average, and a .249 goals against average and .916 save percentage. Joe Pavelski leading the team with 68 points, including a team-high 43 assists. Jason Robertson has 32 goals, and Rupe Hintz has 30 to pace the team in that category. Meanwhile, on special teams, middle of the road, a little above average, 12th on the power play, 22.1% success, 19th on the PK with a 78.6%. And Dallas is kind of middle of the road overall, 20th out of 32 teams in goals scored, 15th in goals against. So again, one of those teams that finds a way to get the job done, but they're not statistically dominant. We'll look at the line combinations. Hintz centering Robertson and Pavelski. That's the top line. Tyler Seguin is the second line center. Vladislav Nemestikov is to his left. And Denis Gurianov is to his right. Jamie Benn is the third line pivot with Jacob Peterson and Joel Kiviranta on either side of him. Radek Faksa is the fourth line center. Michael Raffel, the former Philadelphia Flyer, is the left wing on the fourth line, and Luke Glendening on the right. On defense, Ryan Suter and Miro Heiskanen are the top pair. John Klingberg and Thomas Harley, the middle pair. Joel Hanley, and Yanni Hakanpää are the third pair. The goaltending right now, Jake Ettinger and Scott Wedgwood. They're banged up at goalie. Anton Khudobin, Braden Holtby out. Alexander Radulov right now listed as day-to-day. He's a dangerous goal scorer when he's healthy. And Asa Lindell also out. Look, for the Islanders, the important thing here, first of all, stay out of the penalty box. And yeah, Casey Cizikas, this is a memo in part to you. Stay out of the penalty box. Do not give the Stars too many opportunities to create chances with the extra attacker because they're pretty good at it. And, you know, the two guys who score the most on the power play, Pavelski and Robertson. Pavelski, 11 power play goals. Robertson, 10. Hintz has 7. And then the playmakers, John Klingberg, 16 power play assists. Hintz has 13. So that is it. And Hintz is also dangerous shorthanded. He has 2 shorthanded goals and 1 shorthanded assist. But again, for the Islanders, keep shooting the puck, something they've been doing well. And I have to say, credit to Grant Hutton for not being afraid to shoot the puck. Hutton still doesn't have a point yet through his first 10 NHL games. But I got to like what I've seen from him right now. He's a +1, 16 shots on goal in 10 games. He's getting more confidence that he can do things at the NHL level, and that's helpful. And I do want to see Kiefer Bellows back in the lineup. And we'll see whether or not, the Islanders actually go that route. I assume we go back to Varlamov in goal unless Ilya Sorokin is ready, and we will talk a little bit more about that. We'll keep you up to date via Twitter with regards to that. Now, tonight's game, an 8:30 Eastern time start, so a little bit later, and this is the start of a 3-game road trip that takes the Islanders to Dallas, Carolina, and St. Louis. So it's tonight, Friday, Saturday is the upcoming Islanders schedule. So should be a good game. I think the Islanders, the way they've been playing lately, keep on shooting the puck, stay out of the penalty box, and clog up that neutral zone. Always important. Basically, play Islanders hockey. And that is important for this team. All right, we have got more to get to. We will have our Islanders birthday of the day, a popular broadcaster who played for all 3 New York area teams during his career. And we'll have some thoughts about our 600th show and about Michael Dean Bossie. All of that coming up on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. This episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it is now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. You could save time and money when using Rock Auto. So why choose 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto's prices are reliably low for every customer. They're a family business who've been serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years, and they've got everything you need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even a new carpet. Go explore their easy-to-use website to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and we're a day late on this one, but Monday was the 47th birthday for former Islanders goaltender Kevin Weekes. Weekes, a native of Toronto, Ontario, drafted in the 2nd round by the Florida Panthers back in 1993, made his NHL debut with the Panthers in 97-98, then went on to Vancouver, the Islanders, the Lightning, the Hurricanes, the Rangers, and the Devils before hanging up his skates after the 2008-2009 season. 348 career games for Kevin Weekes in the NHL, 107, 163, and 39, and a .903 save percentage, a .288 goals against average, and he played in a grand total of 9 NHL playoff games. One of the few players to play for the Rangers, Islanders, and Devils, and now, of course, one of the better-known broadcasters on the NHL Network. I did have a chance to speak to Kevin Weekes at length for my book, Ice Wars, and since he played for both the Islanders and the Rangers, he had some interesting perspectives on it all. We're going to go back and look at one of Kevin Weekes' better games for the Isles March 5th, 2000, at the First Union Center in Philadelphia. Islanders and Flyers. Kevin Weeks, the Islanders goalie. Brian Boucher in between the pipes for the Flyers. And it was the Islanders getting on the board first. Dave Scatchard, his 11th from Sean Haggerty at 8:58. That was the only goal of the first period. Islanders up 1-0 after one. In the second, though, the Flyers power play gets going. Sean Haggerty off for obstruction, holding Keith Jones, another well-known NHL Network personality. His 7th from Mikhail Renberg and Eric Desjardins at 8:28. That made it a 1-1 game. And then later in the period with Jamie Rivers off for hooking, Simon Gagne, his 15th, Mark Recchi and John LeClaire with the assists. After 2 periods, Islanders down 2-1. Philadelphia gets a goal from a former Islander to make it 3-1. Gino Odjick, his 6th from Recchi and Gagne at 6:19 of the third. Islanders in trouble, but they get back into the game. Olli Jokinen, his 8th from Eric Cairns and Dave Scatchard at 10:13. That makes it 3-2 Flyers. And then late in the game, Ulf Samuelsson off for holding, Marius Cherkovsky, Jamie Rivers, the power play goal, Marius Cherkovsky and Claude Lapointe with the assists. We go to overtime. And in the OT, 59 seconds in to be exact, Marius Cherkovsky is 25th from Josh Green. Islanders win it in OT 4-3 for Kevin Weeks, our Islanders' birthday of the day. 43 saves in a game. The Islanders were outshot 46-33. A .935 save percentage, 43 saves, and the win for Kevin Weeks, a very nice guy, intelligent guy who knows his hockey, and he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. Wanted to just send our best wishes and prayers along to Mike Bossy and his family. A lot of rumors going around that Mike Bossy not doing well. He has been dealing with lung cancer. There have even been some reports out there that he has passed. That has not been confirmed. And personally, until we hear anything definitive, I don't even like to say such things. All I can tell you is, as someone who watched Mike Bossy play throughout his career, as somebody who met him a number of times at the Nassau Coliseum, got to speak to him, good man, one of the greatest pure goal scorers in NHL history. And we certainly send our prayers and our thoughts to Mike Bossy and his family as he deals with this difficult illness. One other thing, again, wanted to just thank everybody. 600 shows on Locked On Islanders. We've come so far from where we started. Now we're on YouTube, which is great. And hopefully you're noticing the picture quality is a little better. I've worked on that to try to improve it. And I just want to thank everyone for listening and for being a part of the Locked On Islanders family. We will be back tomorrow. We will have our weekly farm report. We'll have our key takeaways from the game in Dallas and a whole lot more. Thanks for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Hosts Steele Roden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. That's going to do it for this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.